another episode of Full Court Focus. Today we're talking about the playoff outlook and the trade deadline of the Hawks, the Lakers, and the Warriors. Three teams that I think had pretty interesting off seasons and pretty intertwined off seasons. So first trade is something that involved both the Hawks and the Lakers. We're talking about the Hawks first. The Hawks sent away Luke Kennard for Gabe Vincent and a second-round pick in 2032. I really don't like this trade for Atlanta. Luke Kennard was one of the best shooters in the league, shooting almost 50% from deep. Really good basketball player, and they don't have a lot of shooting now, really. I mean, they acquired Corey Kispert, who's a good shooter, but Luke Kennard is the best shooter in the league, and giving that away for a guy that the Lakers were just trying to get rid of, honestly, with Gabe Vincent, and just a second-round pick, I don't think was very good. And their contracts also weren't too different. So I don't like that trade for the Hawks. One trade I do like for the Hawks is the trade in which they sent the oft-injured Kristaps Porzingis over to the Warriors for Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield. I think this is a good pick because actually it adds shooting that you lost with the Luke Kennard thing. You add Buddy Hield, who's a little bit overpaid, a little bit fallen out of the rotation, but still a good veteran piece. And you acquired Jonathan Kuminga, who's still super young in his early 20s and was a former top pick. So you have a guy that still has a little bit of development left in him. Maybe you give him the reins a little bit more than the Warriors did, allow him to play. I think that'd be a really good move, and we'll see where that ends up for the Hawks. But I think they had a pretty good offseason. I really wish they kept Kennard, though. Moving on to the Lakers, the only deal they made was that deal I mentioned previously, which was the Lakers acquiring or sending away Gabe Vincent and a second-round pick for Luke Kennard. This is an amazing trade. This is the kind of trade that affects the playoffs. This is the kind of trade that affects the rest of the regular season. You get shooting. You get a 50% three-point shooter to put beside Luka Doncic and LeBron James and Austin Reeves. All three of which are pretty below average shooters on pretty large volume. So it's really good that you were able to get a shooter. For the playoffs for the Lakers, I don't love what I see. I think center depth is still kind of poor, even with DeAndre Ayton. I think they're a second-round exit because Luka Doncic he's not a terrible defender, but he's below average, and that hurts teams. Teams are going to attack him. We're going to see, what happened in the finals with Dallas a while back. He was targeted defensively. He had too many fouls, and he was pretty much a liability. I don't think I mentioned playoffs for the Hawks. I think the Hawks are going to have a really good playoffs. It's a wide open East. I think they're at least in the second round, maybe in the conference finals, maybe in the finals. Jalen Johnson is just that good. They have some veteran pieces. They have Onyeka Okongwu, who's been amazing this season and will fill the gap that Porzingis will leave. And they got Buddy Hield, who has playoff experience. The Hawks, I am really excited about the season. Living in Atlanta and being a Hawks fan, I'm excited for that. Moving on to the Golden State Warriors. Awesome and terrible. They got rid of Jonathan Kuminga, who's been very toxic to their franchise. He's kind of sucked for them, honestly. He was a top pick a little while back, has done literally nothing for them. It has been nothing but a locker room cancer. He's wanted playing time that he's not given. Steve Kerr just doesn't trust him. It wasn't a good relationship. He's on a large contract. So any trade where you're able to get rid of him is a good trade. And they got Kristaps Porzingis, which, okay. I mean, he might play 50 games for you in a season. But if he's healthy for the playoffs, this is a trade that makes a difference for the team. We'll see what happens. I still think the Warriors are a first-round exit in a very strong East. Depending on who they play, I think they might be able to scrape out a win versus the Rockets or one of the lesser Western Conference teams. But if they're matched up against the Thunder, the Spurs, they're done. I mean, the Spurs are definitely going to beat them. And then they also sent out Trayce Jackson-Davis to the Raptors for a 2026 second-round pick. This is really just a salary shedding move. It really doesn't affect them in the long term. They got a little bit older. I mean, they don't have that young player on the board. I think Trayce Jackson-Davis was a good energy piece. Very efficient basketball player, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not really affecting. So, yeah, that's the recap for the Hawks, the Warriors, and the Lakers. Thanks for watching Full Court Focus. Catch you in the next one.